Hello everyone, Ariam here, and it's time for another Dinosaur Days. This week we are going to be talking about the Spinosaurus. If you ask someone their favorite dinosaur, it wouldn't be uncommon that behind something like T-Rex or Velociraptor, Spinosaurus might be up there in a pretty common answer, and this is in part probably due to the fantastic rendition in films like Jurassic Park 3. However, something we will be discussing in the video today is how recent research has completely changed the way we view Spinosaurus and how the current theory on its behavior and appearance is completely different than what was shown in the Jurassic 3 film. I think it's also important to remember that the Jurassic Park films are films. They aren't meant to accurately represent real life. They are not documentaries. A lot of what is depicted in the films is enhanced or changed for cinematic purposes, and even within the films, there's this sort of idea that these dinosaurs were created for a theme park, not for reality. To get back to the actual animal, there's still a lot that is unclear about Spinosaurus due to fragmented remains being lost in fires or stolen, and just overall disagreements between different groups of scientists. As of right now, there are potentially 2 different species of Spinosaurus. However, the debate is still strong whether or not these species are one and the same, and the fossils may represent different age groups of dinosaurs. So as of right now, the only confirmed species is Spinosaurus aegypticus from Egypt, but the possible second species was found nearby in Morocco, Spinosaurus americanus. It's important to note that while there are only 1 or 2 species of Spinosaurus that have been found so far, Spinosaurus is part of a group of dinosaurs called Spinosaurids, so there are plenty of other species that share similar traits and behaviors to Spinosaurus that we could discuss in another video. Spinosaurus is another carnivorous theropod dinosaur, and it is currently known to be the longest known land carnivore. It is similar in size to T-Rex, Giganotosaurus, and Carcharodontosaurus, however it is lighter than these other dinosaurs. In science, the term largest generally means heaviest, so while Spinosaurus is not the largest land carnivore, it is currently holding the title as the longest. Like I mentioned before, Spinosaurus has gone through a bit of a visual update recently. As you can see from films like Jurassic Park 3, back in the 90s and early 2000s, it was generally believed that Spinosaurus was upright standing with a stiff, thin tail, very similar in stance to theropods like T-Rex. However, moving from the 2010s on even to today, it has been found through various reconstructions and models that Spinosaurus likely had a more horizontal stance, lower to the ground with shorter hind legs than previously anticipated. For a while, it was even debated if Spinosaurus might have been a quadruped, or walking on 4 legs, or if it rotated between walking on 2 or 4 limbs. It was even debated whether or not it would move along the ground much like a crocodile. However, for the most part, these theories have been dismissed. Speaking of legs, apparently Spinosaurus is another dinosaur that I just can't draw one of the back legs. Hopefully that's not a recurring theme in this series, as I would really love to skip the step where I spend an hour on one leg. For my coloration of Spinosaurus, I decided to go with 2 morphs, one based on a fire skink that is a little more fantastical, kind of reminiscent of that Jurassic Park 3 design, and one a little more naturalistic based on a red-bellied toad or a fire-bellied toad. Today, it is generally hypothesized that Spinosaurus would have lived a semi-aquatic lifestyle, which makes sense when you take a look at several features found on its body. It is estimated that Spinosaurus could have reached 40 to 45 feet long and around 7 to 7.5 metric tons. However, a lot of that body length is in the skull, and its skull is very similar to that we see in crocodilians today. That crocodilian jaw structure implies that Spinosaurus would have eaten fish, and a diet of fish combined with several other morphological aspects of the skeleton suggests that Spinosaurus not only lived around water, but spent time in the water as well. It is now believed that Spinosaurus's tail would have been more paddle-like, almost like a tadpole tail, and it's theorized that the large sail on its back would have been used for thermoregulation, potentially when drying off on the bank near the water, similar to how modern-day crocodilians will sun themselves on the bank of rivers. Spinosaurus also had at least one enlarged claw per front hand, which implies that this claw could have been used for scooping up fish or impaling fish, similar to a grizzly bear today might. One last feature that points to the Spinosaurus having a semi-aquatic lifestyle is its bone density. It was recently found that the bones, especially the hind leg bones of the Spinosaurus, are unusually dense compared to its body weight. This is a feature that is found in modern-day hippopotamus. It's theorized that this bone density allows for buoyancy control in animals that are semi-aquatic, allowing them to rise and fall in the water in a more controlled way. This discovery of heightened bone density in Spinosaurus even led to a brief scuffle in the scientific community where it was hypothesized that maybe Spinosaurus was fully aquatic, spending the vast majority of its time in the water, only coming onto land to breed and lay eggs. However, that theory has mostly been dismissed today, with the semi-aquatic lifestyle winning out, hypothesizing that Spinosaurus spent its life similar to that of a hippopotamus or a crocodile. One of the most controversial topics in paleontology right now is whether or not dinosaurs had lips. This seems like a strange topic, but it's actually one of the most heavily debated in all of paleontology. For the most part, I am fully and solidly on the lips side of this debate. If you look at reptiles today, like monitor lizards and tegus, that might have a similar head shape to many of the dinosaurs that we discuss, these animals have lips. Their teeth are not exposed to the elements, and from an evolutionary standpoint, it wouldn't make a lot of sense for teeth to be exposed to the elements at all time anyway. However, Spinosaurus is one of those animals that I feel like could go either way, given their similarity to crocodilians, especially in the way that their skull is shaped. If you think about alligators and crocodiles, they do have teeth exposed to the elements. They do not have lips like you see in other reptiles. And so I really do feel like one of the main arguments for lipless dinosaurs could be Spinosaurus. In order to avoid that entire debate, I drew my Spinosaurus with its mouth open, because the best way to deal with something you don't know is to avoid it completely. That will conclude this week's Dinosaur Days video. Make sure to let me know down below whether or not you think dinosaurs had lips.